Hi, everyone. Good evening and good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time of the day is, wherever you're joining us from. Bella Rosa Koji is my name. You're welcome to the Redeemers University Alumni Showcase. It is so good to be here. I'm not going to be doing this alone. You will meet my co-host in a matter of seconds. So please hang in there, sit tight. If you know any Redeemers University students or alumnus who you believe will get a thing or two or benefit something from this session, please make sure that you send them the link wherever you're watching this from. So do that right away, please. We're not here to talk to ourselves or or just chat. We want to make sure that the things that we are talking about here is actually impacting the lives of everyone who's going to be part of this. So please send this to anyone you know who has walked through the walls of the Redeemers University, or maybe right now is within the walls of the Redeemers University. Now, the essence of the Redeemers University Alumni Showcase is to, I guess, as the name definitely sounds, to showcase some of the awesome things that students or ex-students of the Redeemers University are up to in their areas of specialization, wherever they are in their neck of the woods. And, sometimes you may not have the benefits of traditional media to highlight some of the awesome things that people are doing, but we have taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we shine the spotlight on these people to let everyone who are within the university community know what these guys are up to, and everyone who also at one point or the other shared the same space as they to know the exciting things that they're doing right now. You will be surprised to know where students who have been a part of the Redeemers University are right now. You will be shocked. So that's the essence of this. And I hope that our guest today is able to let you see a lot more reason why we have decided to do this. I did say a few seconds ago that I'm not alone on this edition of the Redeemers University Alumni Showcase. Is my co-host here by any chance? I'm very sure that he is. Ladies and gentlemen, please say welcome to, drum roll please,
Hello, Bella. Hello. Hello.
No, Oluwole Olaku is
Thank you.
my co-host today. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice seeing your face. You look great.
Same
So,
here.
I'm just a quick introduction. My name is Oluwole Olaku. I'm an alumnus of Redeemers University, obviously, from the second set. They call us the experimental set, but, we're not. From what we can see, we are doing awesome and doing great, and it's a privilege to co-host with, a seasoned veteran like Bella.
Well, I blink twice if you can hear me or see me.
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you. So pretty much, yeah. So it's it's a great privilege for me to co-host with Bella. Bella's been doing this for quite some time, so pray for me. And I said, get ready for today. I trust
No
that you guys are going
pressure.
to be there. Okay. So yes, it's going to be a nice time today. So like Bella said, we're going to be interviewing someone who has gone through the ranks in a very very prestigious company in this country, and we're going to be having him on shortly. But before we do that, we just want to read his profile so you guys can have this high anticipation for who we're going to bring up next. And so we're just going to go through his profile and, we're just taking back and forth because it's a pretty lengthy profile. I kind of believe it's this kind of people that, when they write their CVs, they have to cut like 10 years off so that,
Yep.
they'll be like, sir, you've done a lot. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to read his profile shortly and, Bella will take the other part of it. So,
Let's do it.
today we're going to be having the guest we're going to be having on goes by the name Kolawole Akintimehin. Kolawole is a senior brand manager with Nigerian Breweries PLC, currently managing the flavored beer category, Star Radler and Desperados. He was a member of the Pioneer Set and graduated with a BSc in biochemistry in 2009. One of his proud moments was the maiden president of the Redeemers University Association of Biochemistry Students, 2008/2009. He has 10 years of work experience with two multinational companies, the first being PZ Cousins, where he, as a graduate trainee in January 2011, and landed a role in its research and development department 6 months after. In this department, he gained experience in skincare, home care segments, and innovation units. He later cross-functioned into brand management at PZ, where he worked on Rob and Robert's antiseptic before he got an opportunity with brewing giants Nigerian Breweries in November 2014. So, Bella, you want to take the other half because whew,
That's really impressive. Let's see how much more I can take. We
yeah,
don't want
because
to intimidate anyone. So let's talk about, the career point of view, right? With regards to our guest profile, his motivation and ambition is to actually become a global thought leader in marketing and general management around the globe. And outside marketing and strategy, he is fascinated by two concepts: simplicity and teamwork. He loves music, enjoys a vast genre of music. He loves playing chess, watching soccer, and playing FIFA, and good thriller movies. And all in all, despite all the work going on behind the scenes, he likes to play, smile, and enjoys a low profile. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is, can we say that together, Wally?
yep,
One to go. His name is
Kolawole.
Kolawole Akintimehin.
Welcome, 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 welcome.
Hi,
Hey,
Bella. Hi, Wally. How are you
hi,
doing? I'm fine, very well.
fantastic. How did it feel hearing your profile read back to you?
It felt like a lot.
I don't talk about me or somebody else. But
I
well
mean,
done. You've achieved so much in such little time. Well done. We're proud of you. If we haven't said that or shown that enough already, we are really
Yeah,
proud of you.
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
thank you. Thanks a lot. Of course, at the
So
end
we'll
of the
get to the
day,
meat of the matter in a very few seconds. Again, if you haven't perhaps shared the video, do so right away. Tell everyone, share on Facebook. Maybe you're not the most active on Facebook. Use your Facebook for some good today. Share the video so people on your Facebook page can see this and join in on the conversation. We'll go on a very short break. And when we come back, we'll be taking some very interesting questions from our guest, Kolawole Akintimehin. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
For scholarship, mentorship, and friendship that guarantees the net worth of your network and increases your employability, enroll at Redeemers University. Be equipped with intra and entrepreneurial skills while activating your leadership potential under world-class mentors and scholars. We are currently offering admission to over 45 fully accredited programs in the faculties of engineering, law, basic medical sciences, management sciences, social sciences, natural sciences, environmental sciences, and humanities. For inquiries, visit adms.ron.edu.ng or call 0700 700 8000 or 0807 300 4715. Scholarships are available. Join us today at Redeemers University as we run with a vision.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Like I said, we introduced our guest earlier, and so we're going to bring him on shortly. And this segment is pretty much going to be talking about moments in the Redeemers University. So I'm going to be bringing up our guest, and we'll just go through some questions. The journey from Redeemers to where he is right now. So I'm going to bring it up shortly. Welcome back, caller. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. Welcome back.
hi, Wally. Yeah, nice to be here. To be honest, and nice to see you. And I've not seen Bella in a long time, so nice to also see her. And
Yes. Thank you. So pretty much, this segment we're gonna is pretty much just focused on your moments in run. As the first set, there was just something unique about you guys. You guys had the best of everything. You guys had, from what people say, we were not there. You guys had a lot of liberties, and apparently, you guys still hold the award for the best DSU. So take us through. From the first day you entered Redeemers University, like how was that like?
okay, so getting into one was not exactly planned. I was supposed to go to Unilag. For it was JAM exam at Unilag, but the WIAC result was not released yet at that time. So it was more or less back to back and it wasn't released. So when I was still trying to process admission, my grandmother then was of the opinion that, you know what, you can't stay at home, go to Redeemers University. I'm going to write the exam. So I got home on a Friday around 9 p.m. after going to get my transcript, 2005. And the exam was on Saturday. And she was like, no, just go in, just go and write the exam. So I wrote the exam. And after writing the exam, that's when I actually submitted the application form. But I got into school supplementary set because some guys were already in school. And when I got into school, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. It was more like, okay, let's see how this goes. But I was lucky to have very wonderful roommates. I was lucky to have very wonderful people that kind of like, influenced me the right way. So one of my roommates, Henry was so focused, and then I got to meet Wale. Wale is still my best friend to date, and it was really, really good. So I'm not so sure if you say we had the best of everything. Of course, yes, they were still sort of experimenting with us. They're still testing the waters. Yes, definitely, we had a lot of liberties. We had some liberties that I guess subsequent set did not really enjoy. But the infrastructure got better as the university got older. The infrastructure got better as the university got older. So I guess it's like, um, it's give and take. So
Oh, okay, awesome. So still going back to that, first set moment that you guys had, you know, how you describe? Will you say were there any experiences in you being in that first set that you say were pivotal to what your life's direction is like? A lot of people that we've interviewed that were in the first set always make mention of the moments they had with Pastor Dayemi and things of that nature. I've noticed that a lot of them are always speaking about the man. So my question to you would be, if perchance did you happen to have any experience with Pastor Dayemi, or uh, you know, were there any defining moments for you in that particular season? Pretty much.
um, thinking about it, really, I didn't have direct experience with Pastor Dayemi. A low profile, so I kind of like had a way of not being in the forefront of a lot of things, to be honest. Um, however, I had a lot of friends that had experience with Pastor Jeremy, and then I also saw. I wouldn't. He was a disciplinarian. He was a strict person, and the way it worked was I wouldn't want to get into the bad books, quote and unquote, because DSA was DSA and that guy was really strong. So it was just more or less like obey the rules, live your life, and somehow, you wouldn't really get called out for a lot of things. But then one of the defining moments, of course, I can't remember the first, I can't forget rather the first divine encounter that I had. So coming to Redeemers University was my first experience at camp. And it was the very first Thursday of that month, so I wanted to go for Holy Communion rather. And as we were walking, Wally and I were walking. As we were walking, we lost our way. We didn't know the way to the auditorium. We didn't know anything, and we were not asking questions. And after like 30 minutes of walking around, we're like, you know what? We tried our best. Let's go back to the hostel. If you don't know where you're going to, you know where you come from. So you can just return back to the path. But it was important because it's kind of like formed the bond between it solidified the bond between Wale and I. But then secondly, it made us understand that sometimes you need to reach out, you need to ask questions, because if you assume you know it, and if you assume that you are the authority in your field or in what you're doing, at some point you would miss the way. And it's not how fast you go. Sometimes you need to combine speed with the right direction. So it was quite interesting, that experience. I mean, other experiences right now, maybe purely academic, and maybe towards the 300 level when I started becoming more social and putting myself more out there.
Okay, that's awesome. So, our next question would be: so, when looking back on your journey through the Redeemers University, what would you say are memorable moments for you? Like the one thing you can point to, for it varies from person to person, but for you, what would you say are like the memorable experiences that you had in Run? Like, what can you remember? What event? What place? Could it be Cornwall? But I'm not sure that out there. But yeah, yes.
Okay, I mean, the some of the experiences that I would list was, I apparently did not discover corn oil until about 200 level. Or, yeah, 200 level. That's when I discovered corn oil, and then of course it became a go-to place. I was in total love with my colleagues in the biochemistry department. We're quite small. We started as a large group, but by 300 level, I think we're just about 10 or 15 people, and we were really really tight knit, and we knew like what each other every other person was doing. But I guess two defining moments for me were, I was also a chapel boy, so if, sometimes on Saturdays I was in the Bible study department, and it helped me, sort of like keep myself in check. And on Saturdays, of course, the Bible study meetings were always good. Um, Apart from that, I would say two things. There was a particular day, and this has to do with one of my hobbies. I play chess a lot, and of course, we should have music services on Wednesdays. And one of the Wednesdays, just before the midweek service, I was playing chess at Tanti's, the cafeteria, and I was playing with this extremely skilled guy. And the guy was really skillful at chess, was really, really good at what he did. And the guy was decimating me on the board. And the bad thing about Tantalizers was that it was a public space. So a lot of people were like overing and covering the game, and they were just there. And he was about to checkmate, and for some reason he wanted to show both. So rather than checkmate and win the game honorably, the guy took another piece that was not really necessary. And that piece um, made him lose his balance in the game. And from a very precarious situation, I over I overturned the game and I won the game. And then for some reason, people started talking about me like, oh, dude, this guy might be good in chess. So we had a rematch at the hostel because the guy couldn't take it. And then I now won him properly. And, and then from there, um, I was never close to the coach, and I never even put myself out to the coach. But from there, the coach heard about me. He put me on the sports chess team. I think we went to Bowen once for a meet, like a private university meet. And we won the chess game versus Bowen. And it was just quite interesting to say how something really playful, something really minor could turn around, and then all of a sudden everybody's thinking you're the guy for chess and all. I mean, that was one thing. I think another moment for me was final year project, because I was running out of time and I was trying to meet up with speed, with the deadline. And I thought I'd finished everything. I was ready to submit. And the night before the submission, after binding and everything, I decided to read it through one more time. And while I was reading it through, I discovered a lot of typographical errors in everything on almost every page. So that night, I couldn't sleep. I kind of like went through correcting everything one by one. And it was. I pay attention to details. Like I really do pay attention to details. So I was surprised that I could have missed spelling errors, like spelling a project with double T. I was like, I could have missed it. I think it was maybe the pressure and everything, but going around correcting it that night, photocopying my project. I couldn't print new copies because it was like really time bound. So I printed one original, photocopied the remaining three, and it was just like, a guy, you have to submit. And it was really, really good because at the end of the day, it came out well. I still had an A in the project. So of course it helped my GP and all, but it was really, really interesting, those two experiences.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We have a video of some of your, I think, your moments in run, and we're going to play that, and we're just going to ask you to let us know what happened in this particular places at this particular time. So once the video comes up, just give us, don't worry, we all have our before and after moments, so trust that this is going to be great. Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, the smile has been consistent though, so. Where were
Kemi
these?
and Kiremi. Oh,
And shout out to Wale.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Wow, so those pictures, like, what memories did they bring back for you?
Okay, so the very first picture, I mean, was on Facebook, yeah, and that was when we just inaugurated the Association of Biochemistry Students at school,
Okay.
and I'd done my IT at PZ, and that particular day, I think I brought my HOD Peter Stroke. He's a Dutch guy. I brought him to school to come give some talk. And the title of his talk was more like bridging the gap between the academic world and the technical world, like the academic world and also the corporate world out there, especially as it relates to science. And one funny thing happened that day. So Peter was on time, he came, but then Peter liked to smoke.
Oh,
And he
on
was coming
camp.
to the dental camp
Ouch.
for his for his session, and it was like, "Oh, Connor, why can I smoke?"
Oh, he was about to have his Moses
oh
moment
my
on
goodness.
the ground.
Um, and then I was like, "Please, you have to do it to your car because because you can't be seen to be smoking." But it went all right. So that very first picture was now when I was giving, I think, my first speech to the entire department. Of course, I'd gone up and down canvassing for votes, but that was not like my first proper speech to the department. To be honest, I can't remember anything I said on that day, but but I think it was quite cool. And then afterwards, I think the second picture with the lab coach was when I was doing my defense. My internal defense was a terrible disaster. My internal defense, I mean, when they asked me questions on stuff, for some reason I couldn't answer all of the questions. I think I was asked maybe about 10 questions or 12 questions, and maybe I could only answer half. And I started asking myself, did I study biochemistry? Or what did I like what happened? But what I think happened was that when I had the other questions that some other people were asked, I was like, oh, that was easy. I could have answered that. But when they asked me those questions, I did not study anything about malaria or anything about why AA guys were more susceptible to malaria than the other genotypes. And for some reason, they just kind of like got me on my blind side. So it was a good experience though, because it made me prepare better for my major defense, the external defense. And by the time I was done with the external defense. It was really, 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 really solid, all smooth, all but the internal defense shook me, and it made me sit up and say, okay, you know what, I have to bring up my A game for the external defense. Um, Graduation pictures were really good. And pictures with Wale, pictures with Femi Akiremi, Joseph Bolarinwa, Astrop. Now, four of those guys were really close. I mean, we're really close. Um, we studied almost together for exams. 100 level to 300 level, I would go to Astrop's room to study. And the music they played back then, of course, feels so nostalgic these days when I listen to them. but it was really, really good. One person that was not in the picture was Yemi Olatunji, solid guy.
Ah,
Yeah. But yeah, the experiences, or should I say, the memories it brings back are really, really joyful, really, really nice, warm moments.
Awesome.
exciting.
Awesome. Awesome. I think we can take one more question before we go on the next break. So, from what you made a particular statement. You said you served both in the chapel and I don't use the chapel and the secular world. That makes it sound kind of funny. But so for us, in the Redeemers
And his
University,
department, I guess.
yes. So there was kind of this I'll call it this kind of underlying divide of chapel people against regular students. Now, and also you talked about you played chess, and that kind of put you in the mix of that particular water. So now, how did you manage that particular back and forth efficiently? Because it was something that was obvious, in Run, you have the non-chapel and the chapel people. Why that was, we'll never know. But wait, did you ever face any conflict of interest at any point while you were navigating that? Like, did you walk into a room and people were like, "Ah, that's a chapel guy. Let's stop this cheese stand," and stuff like that. So, how did you navigate those waters?
I mean, I think for the first set, I think that that for lack of a better word, that dichotomy was not as obvious in the first set. Of course, there were chapel people in the first set, but I think we were kind of balanced. But for me particularly, I feel like I didn't really fit. So I was a chapel guy. I was a Bible study teacher, but I feel like I also didn't necessarily fit into the chapel world. So I was somewhat not a misfit, but somewhat an outlier to some extent. And then because of the sports that I kind of like dabbled into, and also the kind of friends that I had outside of chapel, it kind of like made me somewhat not fully chapel and somewhat not fully call it academic or secular or I don't even know the opposite of chapel in this case. But I think we're quite balanced, and I just couldn't fit in. So I wasn't out there as per not a chapel guy, but I also respected chapel, and I also understood the importance of being close to God. And I think I took it as an opportunity to say, okay, how can I serve? How can I learn? What can I do while I was quite young to be as grounded as possible. So of course, there's some disciplines of chapels that I didn't necessarily um, not believe in, but I didn't necessarily accept as like it should be the way. But then I also understood that God was important in all ways to kind of like set the future right and all. So it was just a bit of just being a good person, basically being a nice person, because if you're a decent person, the chapel guys and the not chapel guys, they'll still respect you one way or the other. So it's just being decent, not necessarily being a spirit coco or being, I don't even know the opposite, tolu astrop. No, just astrop. Yeah.
Great, great. Alrighty. So, Kola, any more questions? Rather, Wale, any more questions?
No, I think we can go on a break now. So, and
Alrighty.
we can go on a break now. We're going to go on a break shortly, and when we come back, we'll be talking about your career moments and your journey through your career, and the awesome Bella will be hosting us then. All right, looking forward to that. So we're going to go on a short break.
For scholarship, mentorship, and friendship that guarantees the net worth of your network and increases your employability, enroll at Redeemers University. Be equipped with intra and entrepreneurial skills while activating your leadership potential under world-class mentors and scholars. We are currently offering admission to over 45 fully accredited programs in the faculties of engineering, law, basic medical sciences, management sciences, social sciences, natural sciences, environmental sciences, and humanities. For inquiries, visit adms.ron.edu.ng or call 0700 700 8000 or 0807 300 4715. Scholarships are available. Join us today at Redeemers University as we run with a vision.
Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Thank you for sticking it out with us. We see all your comments on YouTube and every other platform where this is being streamed. Thank you so very much. We appreciate your audience and your interaction as well. It's really, really awesome. Kolawole Akintimehin is our guest today on the Run Alumni Showcase, and we will take a quick dive into his professional life in a second or two. We have explored time from the Redeemers University. It's been a very nice icebreaker, but he's doing really great things as someone who is in corporate Nigeria, and so we're going to explore that part of his life right now. And I want to take it from a few things that he said in the first bit of this chat, where he talked about when he was not the kind of person who exactly liked to put himself out there, but then he became the president of his departmental association, and a few other things with regards to being a chapel boy, and also having to have friends who did not necessarily warm up to the chapel. Kola, talk to me about how you were able to make that transition, for lack of a better word, right? So from being a very quiet person to someone who was also very particular, I guess, about his space. Because I mean, we all see where you work, though. What are the things that you perhaps have had to overcome to be the person that you are at your job right now, and what things have had to change about yourself?
Okay, so thank you so much, Bella, for the question. When I reflect and when I think about these things, I think 300 level was actually the turning point for me. When I was in school, 100 level, 200 level, I was quite focused on the books on the level 200 level, to be honest. And at the end of 200 level, I realized that I never got an A in biology, and biology was a 4-unit course. And then I still had an ambition of graduating to first class. But after 4 semesters of 4-unit course, without having an A or a B, I always had a C in biology. For funny reasons, I always had a C in biology. So I just kind of gave up on the dream that, forget about first class. You have a solid 2-1. You cannot get worse than a 2-1. So explore that aspect of life. And I never actually had the intention to say, let me run for an office in school, an elective position within the department. But I asked out a girl. I'm not going to mention her name right now, but I asked her out. We're quite close to each other level. And for some reason, I wasn't fast enough or quick enough to say, hey, I think I like you enough to be my girlfriend. And by the time we got to 300 level, she started dating someone else. And then I was just like, you know what? If academics will not go for me, if relationship will not go for me, just explore. Just open yourself up to the world and explore. And so I started having the dream of saying, you know what? Yeah, we put together the departmental association. I tried to bring up some vision. Let's see what we can achieve with that. But 300 level was when I became a bit carefree to say it wasn't just about the book. It was just about being more rounded. And so I started for the first time I started playing video games. So I, as a young guy, I never had video games. It was my books and
Wow.
my books. So I started playing video games with some other guys. So I got into FIFA from there. I started playing more chess, at least publicly. I started doing more things, and it was quite interesting to live, should I say, freely. Like you're just able to live and explore and experience other aspects of life. And that took me into my service year. So as an only child of my parents, they could be quite protective, and
Yeah.
they wanted me to stay in Lagos, serve in Lagos by all means, and they referred me to certain people, but I never went. I never went, and they never asked me because they trusted me. They just believed that Kola would do it, but I
Mm.
just never did. So when I got posted to Anambra State, it was now another experience, and I was like, oh, Lagos didn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. So I'm now in Anambra State. I'll make the best out of it. And it was an interesting experience because I was now able to really, really break off from the school network and form new networks within Anambra.
Aha. Mm.
And so becoming more outspoken, teaching students, playing with the student. I was in a village
You
where
were
there
a
was
teacher
no
in your
light.
service year.
Is that?
You were a teacher in your service year.
Yes, I was. I was.
Okay, cool. What school did you teach? Do you remember the name of the school?
John Odenigo Memorial High School.
Oh, there
It's
you go.
yeah. I mean, when I tell people where I served in Anambra State, not a lot of people know it because the village is called Omasiagu and the local government is called Ayamelon. But the local government was quite interior. You know, the place where you'd have to take before you'd have to take a boat to cross, and then later on the side became
Wow.
so the road now became not motorable, but it was decent enough. But I sat there, and it was interesting because for me to keep sane, I had to interact more with the student. Every day we played football. It was really good. So exploring and becoming a bit more outspoken, becoming a bit more open, I think changed my perspective to life. I went with my GMAT book though because I was always at the back of my mind. I knew that I have to get out of here and I'm going to do a lot of tests and interviews. So I was quite prepared.
Mhm.
So after teaching the student, I'm practicing. So when the opportunities for PZ came, graduate training, it was quite almost easy. It was easy to scale through the exam part. And
Yeah.
then because I
Mhm.
had done my IT back then, I still had that calling reputation and it saw me through the interview process. So it was quite easy for me to get into PZ. I got into PZ, and of course, PZ is really different from school. So with the friendships there and everything, it opened my mind to the possibilities. And I realized that it was all about getting more skilled. It was all about getting more exposure, getting more knowledge and all. Now, some people, some of my colleagues, some of my friends would have thought that I would end up in academics because I had a flair for teaching when I was in
Yes.
school. I had a flair for explaining concepts that I truly understood. But shout out to all of our colleagues that are in the academic world. Shout out to everyone that are actually doing the work. I felt that money was important and that being an academic was not going to,
Wow.
was not going to support the
Wow.
vision or what I had in mind. So I was like,
Oh
more.
my goodness. So teaching will not exactly pay your kind of bills, yeah?
Now, teaching would not do a lot of things. I mean, eventually it's
Mm.
going to pay off. Eventually, you're going to have to connect. Eventually, you're going to have the whole exposure and everything, especially because when I
Mhm.
think about some guys and the opportunities they have and the
Mhm.
skills that they have with respect to research, these guys can monetize their skills and then can give them like hundreds of dollars per annum in terms of income. So it's a trade-off to say at the beginning you could be a bit slower, but eventually when you blow, you mega blow, that kind of thing. But I was just like,
Hey.
what? Let me just start from where
Mhm.
from where I was. And I think the person that really inspired me to do that was Professor Emerole. He was our dean of natural sciences, but the guy
Yes.
had experience with teaching, but also had experience with mobile as per a career, an actual career.
Yeah.
And I felt like I could do that as well. So maybe sometime in the future, I might come back. I might come back.
Never say never. Never say never. So you are currently the brand manager, flavored beers of Star Radler and Desperados. Walk us through what your actual job is. What is perhaps a day in the life of Kolawole Akintimehin, senior brand manager, flavored beers at Star Radler and Desperados? What exactly do you do?
Okay, so let me start with the big picture. The big picture of my job or my role is that not a lot of people like to drink beer because beer can be bitter. And when beer is bitter, it's a barrier we have to overcome. And to future proof the company, we need to be able to open ourselves up to more people who might enjoy some alcohol, but they don't want bitter alcohol. So
Are
my
you trying
job,
to sell alcohol to me right now, Kola? Is that what you're doing? Is
no,
that
I'm
what
trying
you're
to.
doing? I'm messing with you. Carry
I
on,
mean,
please.
it's what I think I've done for like 5 or 6 years now. So,
Right.
but really, it's about saying it's about future proofing and it's about trying to get more people to get more access to beer. And so with
Mm.
flavor are sweeter, easier to drink beers that people can try when they want to at least try out a beer or a beverage. Now, a day in my job is that I'm either working on a project or managing operations. Now, a
Right.
project could be a communication campaign, like an advertisement campaign. So it could be, for example, when we launched Desperados in December 2020 last year, it was all about establishing what Desperados was because it was a new brand in the market. And we didn't want people getting the wrong notion of, oh, Desperado is for desperate people. So we had to kind of like say, okay, this is a beer that is flavored with tequila. And I guess there was that curiosity to say, oh, what does it taste like? Will I like it? And it kind of like caught fire from there, and people sort of like embraced the brand. Not everybody would like it, but those who liked it. Now,
Right.
so I could either be working on an advertising campaign as a project or an experiential campaign because it's one thing to to have your communication out there. But it's another thing
Hmm.
to drive connection. And what we're trying to do is to really connect with the art and with the minds of consumers. So you need to also design experiences that they could come into the world of the brand, try the product, and then of course understand what we're trying to say. Of course, experiences are now kind of like say for a limited few, maybe 200 people maximum, 300 people maximum. So the bigger job to be done is now to take this content that you've created and put it out there on mass media, social media, TV, whatever, to reach more
Hmm.
people. And they are like, oh, this is what this brand is trying to do or trying to say. So basically, when I'm working with a project or on a project, I'm working with my creative agency or my experiential
Right.
agency or a PR agency. We start with a brief, and when we do the briefing, which is a formal document to say what I want. I want a goat that is white and black. When we give them that brief, we now have to debrief them to say, oh, this goat actually should be male goat, but then let it be our this year. So a debriefing is now more or less like you're going into more details. And then when we do the debriefing, of course, we give them time to ideate and come back with their proposal. But while that is
Hmm.
going on, we have to maintain the operations. And the operations means that our products are available because for you to market any product or for you to sell any product, the product has to be available or present. So you're checking the production numbers from the factory or from the brewery to see, are you guys producing as per you've planned? And when they're producing as
And
per
so
you,
you make those trips yourself.
well, thankfully, thank God for technology. I don't have to then go to the factory anymore because on tools like SAP, you can see what every factory or every brewery is contributing. And then
Right.
you can see the production plan. With Power BI, you can tell when they are meeting up with the production plan or when they're not meeting up with the production plan. You can
Right.
tell the stock you have in trade, the stock you have in the brewery, and then if the stock is getting too much, you know that they're going to stop producing you. So you now need to start talking to your trade marketing guys, which are the guys that interface with the sales guys on the field and the marketing guys in the HQ to say, we need to do some activations or we need to do some promotions for some brands to sell a bit quicker.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
what we don't want is for a brand to be deprioritized, because when it's deprioritized,
Right.
you won't meet your target, those kind of things. So it's all about balancing the eggs to say, oh, we have enough. I like this game, and I think I saw this game when I was in 300 level, Diners Dash, where you're just making cakes for people, and you're selling.
Yes, we used to play that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just that concept really
Mm.
at work. So you can like see what you're doing. Is the stock good? Do you have issues? Is there a PR issue? But another thing that we do for ourselves within the organization is that we self-regulate a lot. By
Okay.
self-regulation, we mean we try to avoid NCC coming down our necks, APCON, NAFDAC, all those people. So um, a lot of people can advertise on BRT buses, but we cannot advertise on
Mhm.
BRT bus because we think we are
Can you tell us
exposed,
why?
so that we don't expose our communications to minors, like in the face of
Ah,
minors
right.
and
Right,
stuff
right,
like that.
right, right.
So we self-regulate a lot. So we have to kind of like balance all of these 4 P's of
Ah.
marketing or
Mhm.
7 P's of marketing, depending on your philosophy, and get it done.
Did COVID affect your job at any point, or what would you say has been the most difficult time of your job as a senior brand manager at Star Radler?
I mean, I think the most difficult part is not being able to interface with people the way I would love to. So I feed off the energy of people. And when you think
Right.
about team construction dynamics, some guys are
Mhm.
very extroverted and they're very gingered on the move. Let us do this. Some guys like myself are a bit more reserved, a bit more um, I wouldn't use the word strategic, but we try to look at the big picture and try to piece everything
Mhm.
together. So the energy level is not always like, oh, let's go, let's go and ginger and all. Um,
Yeah.
but we help each other out. So not being able to interact with people within a physical space was actually
Mhm.
difficult because all your life you've kind of like worked within a team, and everyone brings one special thing to the table, and you have to work from
Mhm.
home. Of course, I enjoy working from home because the internet is good, blah blah blah. I'm in my space. I don't have to dress formally, but um, people really do matter, especially within our business. And for mental health reasons, you are able to tell people your struggles. And also, the difficult part of my job right now, within the context of COVID, is not having access to people the way we ought to have access to them. Of course, people leave, so 20 friends cannot be 20 friends cannot be friends
Friends for
for 20
20
years,
years.
quote and unquote. So people would leave the job, people would leave the role, and you're just like happy for them, but you're sad to let them go as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's another thing. But at the end of the day, the center of it is really people, people, people. Um, if there's
Absolutely.
a difficulty in a project, it's a knowledge gap. It's a knowledge gap. So you can get more knowledge with YouTube, with Google, with a senior colleague. So that is fine. But it's really about influencing people, winning through
Mhm.
people, getting people to do your thing. Of course, we've not been able to travel as much. So
Yeah.
international travels are sort of banned, like official international travels within the organization is banned. Um,
Okay.
but we can do some local travels. But with the unrest going in the east and in the north, it's
Mhm.
technically difficult to do market visits as well.
Right. So I'm coming back to one or two things that I'm curious about with regards to your job, but we do have a video that we want to show. Kind of highlights, your corporate life. So can we have that video roll, please? And shout out to everyone who's watching online. Oh, that's you and Dako. Hey. Oh, shit. Ah, nice. Okay. Oh, that's you. Doesn't even look like you. Walk us
Yeah,
through some of those pictures. Oh, there you are again. Before the lockdown beard, I guess.
that, that was 2014. That was
Oh,
2014.
course, before the lockdown beard.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, the beard had made its appearance here by now. Beautiful, beautiful. So walk us through some of those pictures.
I mean, first of all, there's a big difference between myself when I was in school and when I got into into the corporate world. Like almost day and night. Like my throwback pictures are not nice. However, um, so I started with PZ as a graduate trainee. From graduate trainee, I got a landing role with research and development department. And over there, I had three different stints. I had a stint with home care, which are like the detergents and co. I had a stint with personal care, which are like body creams, things that have to do with the skin. I had a stint with hair care, so I kind of like understood how relaxers would work, how conditioners would work, and all this stuff. Um, I just don't know why I cannot apply that to make my gray hair darker. But yeah, I'm just kidding. And then eventually, because of the experiences I had in these three units, a new unit was formed, and it was called the innovation unit. And the innovation unit was where we kind of like come up with different ideas, general management ideas, um, technical ideas as well, product ideas, and then give to the marketing team. I realized then again that career in marketing was faster than career in the technical field. In the technical field, you can just maybe become head of the department. But then the MD, CEO, and all these kind of guys are usually more commercially oriented.
True.
So I felt like, okay, you know what? I love strategy. I love being behind the scene. Perhaps I could do brand management. And then I spoke with my marketing director then, and she organized an interview the same day I spoke to her. And then I spoke to her on a Friday, organized the
Mm.
interview on that same Friday. By 2 p.m., I was done with the interview. On Monday, she had written to my HOD, St. Peter, oh, I want this guy in management.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was a big shift. I had no formal training in marketing or
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. So as soon as I got the change into marketing, I then enrolled into Simon Page School of Marketing to understand marketing better. So it was more like marketing 101, crash
Right.
and all this stuff. So I did those technical college study at the back end to just understand. Within a year, I had become more active on LinkedIn. I got some exposure on Cool FM when I went for some interviews here and there. And then in my inbox one day, I saw an offer from Nigerian Breweries. And they're like, and the HR guy was like, "Will I be interested in joining Heineken?" And I thought it was Heineken, the organization. I did not know it was
Oh,
Heineken, the brand. So I was like, yes. I mean, if it was fake, the worst that can happen is I'll discover it's fake. I'll take my L
yeah.
and I'll move.
Move on with
So
life.
it just so happened that someone had unexpectedly resigned because Nigerian breweries would not normally look out for talent or look out for people. But someone had resigned and another person was going on maternity leave, so they needed someone ASAP. And so
Urgently.
urgently, yeah. And I did the interview. I got in one of the interview days. I had to fly back from PZ to Nigerian breweries, and I was when I did that, I think I was pretty sure I was going to get the job because I was like, oh, I've sacrificed a lot, and
Right.
I have to get this job. But when I got into Nigerian breweries, I was working on the Heineken brand. It had a lot of international eyes, a lot of local eyes.
Mm-hmm.
My first project was the green bottle behind, where I was in some sort of polo and I was looking very childish. I think I could have passed for
Very
under 18.
skinny.
Yeah. Um, but it was quite interesting because from there
Mm.
on I started getting more confident um, with the job. I started getting more respected as well. It coincided with the fact that some graduate trainees of Nigerian breweries were just like 6 months or 1 year older than me in the system. So we
Mm-hmm.
could all pass to be like the same set. So I kind of like bonded with those guys, and by bonding with them, it was easy for me to then settle down. And when I settled in, the respect grew. Technically, I
Mm.
was good on the job. I also had good knowledge areas as well. So it just kind of like grew from there. At PZ, I was at PZ for 3 years. I don't think I got promoted once, but at Nigerian Breweries, I've gotten promoted 3 times in 6 years. So the speed has been quite good as well. Because I started all over from the very bottom of Nigerian Breweries, but the speed has been quite good. I'm really thankful for the managers I've had, the projects I've worked on. So some
Mm-hmm.
projects, where, for example, when Stars signed on the 5 European clubs, Arsenal,
Yeah.
PSG, Madrid, Barcelona, it made me liaise with some of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then opening my eyes to what really goes on in sports marketing. So sports
Mm-hmm.
marketing is quite a lucrative business. But then when Arsenal won the FA Cup, it took some consumers to go see the final. They won the FA Cup, and then we brought the trophy home, and that was the picture you saw with the FA Cup trophy and all with some of the marketing guy.
Yeah. Nice.
And then
I wish we could take a lot more insights, really, but we are so pressed for time.
yeah,
But I'm curious about, there's one thing that I believe many people think about people who go to Christian private universities, right? Sometimes there's the expectation that there are certain industries that you can't work at. In fact, there are some people who actually go to Christian universities who feel like they can't work at certain, they can't work in certain industries or at certain companies because there may be some kind of conflict, right, within them. So I think I need you to speak to anyone right now who feels like, okay, I'm from a Christian university and I don't know that I can work for an alcoholic brand or I can work for, some other brand that I don't necessarily share the same ideals or values with. What would your advice be to such a person?
so I actually also struggled with this. I struggled with this when I was doing the interviews and when I was trying to accept the offer or when I knew that an offer was coming. I struggled with it. And I
Mm.
spoke to my family. I was like, "Oh, I went to Redeemers University. I was a Bible study teacher. how,
Ah,
how will it how will it sound that I'm working
yeah.
in Nigerian breweries?" Um, I mean, and then they're just like, you know what? People drink alcohol. Jesus turned water to wine. All this kind of stuff. They're like, oh, it's not about getting drunk. It's about just drinking. Sometimes you might need alcohol and all. I never tasted alcohol on before I joined Nigerian breweries. I never did
Mm.
until the day before an interview, and I was like, just in case they would ask me, what does this beer taste like? I shall have
So I don't
an
lie.
yes, I shall have an answer. But this is what I think, and this is what I really believe. I believe at the end of the day, the reason why light shines so brightly is because of darkness, right? And I'm not trying to then say that certain industries or certain eras are anti-Christian or anti-light. It's just the
Hmm.
fact that sometimes you could go into an industry or go into a system or go into a corporate world and be an example. I'm
Mm.
also inspired by the I think one of our guys, one of our board of trustees person, I can't pronounce his name very well. He's an elder
Baba
man.
Iwere.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you so much. Yeah, that guy, because it was also it was chairman of Nigerian Breweries. Of course, it became more close to God as he grew older and all. But I was also inspired by that example. I was like, sometimes the best example you can set is to actually be a Christian, do what you have to do. You're doing a job, do it excellently as possible, so that you're not now slacking because you're a Christian. And then sometimes some of the excesses that might come along the job, maybe you might try to cut it down. So maybe if everyone is more or less, call it, you want to hang out at night and you want to hang out and you're not with your family. Of course, I'm not married yet, but then I imagine that if I'm married, then my family will be more important to me than always hanging out with the boys. And little by little, you are able to then at least affect, be an example within your family unit. And people see, oh, how does this guy do it? Or how does he keep it balanced?
Yeah.
I like his joy, I like his happiness. I'm so grateful that I've not lost my smile because sometimes things could happen and you could lose yourself or lose your identity or lose your smile or your happiness. But the joy that comes from God, the joy that God has put inside, the gift of joy, sometimes it just keeps being there, and it's more or less like a reflection that there is something that gives this guy confidence other than the money, other than the perks of the office, and that they want to really know what is it, how far, what is this guy up to, and then that ways that ways it inspires other people. So it's about influencing, it's about being yourself, and at the end of the day, we all have visions for our lives, and of course, sometimes people will sacrifice, and I respect those who sacrifice a lot and say, "Oh, I cannot work in X, Y, Z because of whatever reasons they have." It's also really valid, but
Right.
I think that sometimes you are also in a position to be able to become some sort of open doors to other people, because
Mm,
if you're not if you're not at the right door, and certain people need an opportunity and you're not there to influence the opportunity,
you
how
might
then
miss it.
yeah. So it's all intertwined to say there's
Absolutely.
purpose, there is a vision, but then there's also a place where you have to hold your conviction tight. You need to have, yeah, you need to be a person of conviction at the end of the day.
I think you are very brilliant, caller. Always have. Always have. You've always been so brilliant. And this has been an exciting chat.
Thank
Wale,
you.
any last words?
Oh no, no. For me, I mean, I've taken a lot of things away from this interview. I mean, the last thing he said, is something that I personally value so much. That concept of gatekeepers, having people in these pivotal positions to man the gate so that other people can come in, is something he made mention of, and it really resonated with me because it's something I've been preaching about a lot. That we need to have more gatekeepers, people of the faith, and having that understanding on how to infiltrate all these places. He mentioned Elder Ehiwere, and one of the things I remember we had an interview with him in the chapel, and when someone asked him the same question you asked him, Bella, and the man said, he made sure that during one of his times, that's when Feroz was introduced. So, little tweaks like that inform a lot of great change. So, I mean, Kola, I'm really, really proud of the work you're doing, and I'm sure that God will give you a lot of wisdom in how to proceed. So, yes.
Thank you so much, Wally, and thank you so much, Bella, for this opportunity and for this time.
Thank you.
Uh,
A special shout out to everyone who's watching online. We see all of you.
And the
We
comments were
appreciate you. Callers
amazing.
friends, callers fans, your colleagues as well. In the Redeemers University, they're in the comment section and they're just going off. But we love you. We say thank you. Please join us next time on the One Alumni Showcase. Don't disappear next time. I think
Yeah.
because it's not color, you will not come. We will
Yeah.
look for you. We will find you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's
So we're
been,
done.
yes, it's a wrap. Thank you very much for coming again. Thank you very till next time, like Bella said. Thank you, Bella, for co-hosting. It was an amazing time. Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank
And
you.
we are